I took the time to sift through all the chaff so you don't have to experience the aftermath of your wallet. Hey everyone, welcome to Commander Pop Culture. If you like the video, be sure to subscribe so you'll be notified of future content. Number 10, Nahiri's Resolve. Probably one of the most flexible cards from the set, and maybe one of the most overlooked because it can have a lot of applications. The crux of Boros decks are board wipes. This enchantment not only helps you dodge those by triggering on your end step, but it also is an Anthem effect, a haste enabler, which both potentiate your Boros aggro strats. That haste enabling also ensures that when your creatures come back on your upkeep, you're not punished for choosing to dodge people's board wipes. If aggro is not your thing, then you get the value from ETB triggers. Did I forget to mention that you could also target important artifacts as well? One can argue, but I lose my blockers. I'll counter that by saying you are most likely not going to block with your valuable attackers / ETB triggers anyways. This is a dense iceberg of a card that people don't give the credit it deserves based on its current price point. Number 9, Karn Legacy Reforged is a pretty sweet value card. For the low cost of 5 CMC, normally to get this kind of effect of a Blink Moth Urn and a Horizon Stone, you'd have to pay 10 mana. He also produces mana just for yourself, unlike Blink Moth where it hooks everyone up. At his weakest stat block, he'll be a 5/5 because he sees his own CMC. This card is a good example of power creep in Magic as of late. You could also play him as a commander and thus consistently have access to those two desirable effects. Number 8, Zagara Font of Blessing. She's probably the best version of Zagara we have ever seen. For 2 mana less, you get a privileged position from your command zone, as well as a pigeonholed future side effect for humans and angels. Normally, I don't go for tribal decks. However, I think this is one of the best tribal commanders I've seen in a long time. Another example of power creep, as she is a 4/4 flying evasion. Number 7, Taseri, Stalwart Survivor. She will reign supreme as the best Tim commander for a long time. Access to all your colors and both abilities synergize with itself, i.e. all your creatures now tap for mana, activate Taseri, find more creatures to add mana, rinse, wash, repeat. Number 6, Filter Out. The most excited for this card are CDH players that love playing eggs. It's another paradoxical outcome / Hercules recall. Eggs are those artifacts that have those fat zeros for CMCs. If you have a permanent in play that cantrips off of artifacts like Joyra, Riddlesmith, Vidalcan Archmage in play, you'll most likely draw enough cards to win the game upon resolution. Number 5, Reckless Handling is a gambling effect for just artifacts. In the right decks, this is another tutor that will most likely lead you to victory. Tutors for 2 or less mana in this day and age are rare, and I'm surprised to see one at this point in Magic's history. Most competitive EDH decks utilize their graveyards and or have contingencies for when their artifacts are destroyed, meaning you don't care if you accidentally get your tutored card discarded. If you play an artifact strategy and you're passing on this card because of the discard effect, you're wrong. Number 4, Narset Enlightened Exile. You're telling me that for the low cost of 4 CMC, I can give all my creatures prowess from the command zone.
Shut up and take my money!
I plan on playing a token strat where I utilize as many raise the alarm effects as possible. The equation is to make dudes, inject them with prowess roids.
One day if you did it, damn right, and I do it again, cause I am light, so I got to win. Break bread with the enemy.
Number 3, Nissa, Resurgence Animus. Not particularly more powerful than these upper 5, but probably going to be the most popular. It's another Lotus Cobra or Tireless Provisioner. It's what every green player wants. The second landfall trigger from your fetches grants card advantage for elementals and or elves. I think the driving factor of its price is that it's printed at Mythic. It has a high demand effect and will have fewer printings and is part of a rather unpopular set. I could see this card going up in price in the future. Ob Nixilis, Captive Kingpin. Probably the most powerful card in this set. There are a lot of combos already discovered. One infinite that comes to mind is All Will Be One. Being in black, your pieces are easily tutorable, or get massive value with things like Pestilence and Pyrohemia. Plus, there are a lot of incidental life loss effects in the game. For example, your opponent taps a City of Brass or a Mana Confluence. Every time this happens, you get card advantage, and size up your evasive flyer / trampler to become a lethal attacker and finish people off the old-fashioned way. The ceiling of this card is so much higher than Prosper that it makes any other Rakdos commander look like
just Babytown frolics.
I wouldn't be surprised if this card tops popularity charts in the near future. My number 1 pick, Spark Rupture. Definitely not the most powerful card, but definitely the most needed in the commander format. Super Friends and Landfall are 2 of the strongest deck themes simply because there's not enough to interact with those strategies. The only other Planeswalker hoser is the inefficiently costed The Immortal Sun. Spark Rupture costs half that. Everyone should own a copy of this card so they can throw it into a white deck to metagame against the popular popularity of Planeswalkers. At its worst, you're not playing against a Super Friends deck. It replaces itself via its cantrip. I love the design on cantrips on stacks pieces for the previously mentioned reason. You're not being punished for playing it and taking a deck slot. Thus, there's no reason not to run them. I hope they keep making cheap CMC cantrip stacks cards. The last similar stacks card we got was Confounding Conundrum from Zendikar Rising. From more like them, WotC, it will be one of the better decisions you have made in recent date. They'll improve your flagship format. As for the value of these cards, you could see that I think every card that I've picked in my top 10 is something that everyone should own at least one copy of. And if you look at that compared to the price of a collector booster box, it's a staggering difference. It's just proof to show that you don't need to buy boxes to hang with the best of us. Just look up guides like this or other people's, and there are plenty of wise players out there that can help you, I guess, improve your game based on the cards that you play. So I hope you all enjoyed. Have a good night.